Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this game of Total War Saga. This is Troy, and Creative Assembly have very kindly given me a preview copy of the game so that I can show it off to you. We do have a couple of restrictions. We are only allowed to play as two rulers, the first of which is going to be Menelaus, which you are going to be seeing today, and then be a second one, which I'm going to keep secret until then. So, what can I show you of this? Well, everything up till turn 40. So, we've got the strategic map. I can show you all of that. I can show you the construction in cities, combat with the armies, recruiting agents, recruiting leaders, leveling them up. Basically, the entire game within those 40-turn limit. So, who is Menelaus? Well, he is the King of Sparta, and definitely one of the most important characters in the Iliad on which Troy is based. What does Sparta do? Well, it has a couple of rather interesting mechanics, most notably, call to arms. Having a defensive or military ally allows you to recruit units from their roster. So the more friends we make with more countries, the larger the roster of our units will become, and we can basically recruit a whole bunch of different things, not just the Spartan units. Call to arms units can be recruited regardless of where your army is, so yes, that means we can recruit them in hostile territory. Call to arms units take more turns to be recruited, so they're kind of like the global recruitment from games like Warhammer, where they'll take a turn or two longer to recruit. We also have the Spartan Colonies ability, where we can instantly colonize a raised settlement within your line of sight without sending an army. So basically, if we can see a raised settlement, we can colonize it. It does get expensive, especially if they are further away from our home territories, and we can still colonize by sending an army to colonize normally, and that is a heck of a lot cheaper. But this does basically allow us to go, oh, there's a settlement way over there. Click, colonize, it's ours now. Settlement colonization costs resources, and then far away raised settlements are more expensive to colonize, so there we go. So what can we say about Menelaus himself and his armies? Menelaus' roster combines devastating heavily armed infantry with effective slingers used for preemptive strikes. We have access to 3 of the 4 hero classes. Those are the defenders, the fighters, and the warlords. We do not have access to the archers. We have 3 faction-unique units. We have the light spear runners, which I can tell you from a little bit of experience are really good. Hadn't actually realised that they were a faction-unique. That would explain why they were so good, actually. Interesting. So these are armoured light infantry units. They're actually pretty good. They've got solid armour. They are also quicker than most light infantry units. And they throw javelins, so they also have a ranged option. They're pretty sweet. We've also got the Axe Champions, 2-handed Axe Infantry. Menelaus actually has quite a few Axe units, so when it comes to fighting against enemy armoured units, Menelaus tends to be in a pretty good position to do that. And then we've also got the heroic Axe Warriors, who are Axe and Shield as opposed to the 2-handed Axe guys, which were the previous ones. Glorious Menelaus, King of Sparta, was the younger sibling of Agamemnon of Mycenae and husband to Helen. When Paris seduced his wife and fled with her to Troy, Menelaus joined his brother's alliance and crossed the Aegean Sea, consumed by revenge. Although his best days on the battlefield were already behind him at the start of the Trojan War, the mighty warrior still inspired fear and awe. He favoured power over cunning in the manner of his peerless Spartan warriors, clad in heavy armour and wielding a great spear. According to the Iliad, he overpowered Paris himself in single combat, only to be denied his bloody vengeance when the goddess Aphrodite intervened in the Trojan prince's favour. But the formidable commander was not without mercy. To him, violence was but a means to an end, and one he gladly set aside when a better path presented itself. He is the son of Atreus and Erope. He gets +6 to melee defense for all units, and +4 influence over a province. So influence, as we'll see in a moment, is kind of like corruption in Warhammer, and I'll be referring to like Warhammer and other Total War comparisons fairly frequently, in that it's your control over a region. So there's public order, which is how happy the local populace are, and then there's influence, which is how much of the local province is actually loyal to you. And that will have a number of different bearings in the game as we go on. So I'm just pouring myself some tea as we're doing this. Okay, we are going to be taking Helen back. And each of the different rulers has their own like start button, which is kind of cool. But I'm not allowed to show you those. That was one of the terms of the embargo, is I'm only allowed to show you Menelaus and Mystery Hero, which is going to be coming soon.
Are we mere playthings of the gods? Or do we plead divine influence to justify our foolish choices?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife! You've risked the safety of Troy.
Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you. Brother, I can fight! Go. Seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
Helen's flight was a grave wound to Achaean pride. King Menelaus will have his revenge. And his brother will have his war with Troy, just as the gods intended.
Seething with hatred, King Menelaus of Sparta, Helen's true husband, plots his revenge against treacherous Paris.
Hear me, spear-famed Menelaus. Brazen Prince Paris of Troy has dared to steal your wife.
Paris of Troy must pay!
Gold-rich Mycenae, ruled by your brother Agamemnon, will support your cause.
Troy thinks to slight me, but they will pay the price.
As well as exacting vengeance upon Troy, other matters demand your attention. Open rebellion has devastated the region of Eetis, where a pretender is trying to take power for himself. South of Eetis, mighty Tiryns holds Kythera Island, blocking your access to the treasures of Crete, which are beyond imagination. Consolidate your power at home. Urge Helen's suitors to honor the oath of Tyndareus in your defense, and wage war on the perfidious Trojan princeling.
And the narrator, by the way, is supposed to be Homer, which I quite like the idea of. So we've got Homer, who is the author of the Iliad, actually narrating the whole thing, which is pretty cool. How they play Sparta. The people of Sparta are known for their intrepidity and ingenuity. Thus, Menelaus can colonize a raised settlement instantly, without having to send an army there. As a result, colonization of remote settlements is more expensive. Many are willing to honour the oath to support Helen's husband in case anything happens to his wife. Because of that, Menelaus can recruit units from the rosters available to his defensive or military allies.
The enemy sends their warriors against you to ravage your lands and sack your cities, but perhaps they underestimate your strength. March out, engage them in battle, and put them to flight.
Defeat an army belonging to the following faction in battle: Spartan noble pretenders, who are over here. The treacherous Spartan noble pretenders have advanced with their forces, which now threaten your lands and the livelihood of your people. March out with your army and defeat them in battle. Armies are used to defend home cities and to attack enemy cities and armies. Armies may be selected by left-clicking. Right-click to move an army or attack with the selected army. And doing this, we will gain food and bronze, which actually brings us to the first, most obvious change. There are now resources outside of just gold. There are food, wood, stone, and bronze. Each of those will have an impetus in different areas. Most of the early units that you'll recruit will be using a combination of food and wood. Some of the more advanced buildings will require stone, and then some of the more advanced units will require bronze. This does mean that there is a bigger emphasis on controlling different key regions around the world to take control of those resources. And this also builds on the Total War 3 Kingdoms diplomacy system, where you can trade resources between your nation and with others. And definitely controlling and providing access to those resources is a very key component of what's going on here in Troy. So let's go and grab Menelaus and take a look at what his units are. Oh, have we? We've just crashed. Oh no, we haven't. So I don't. One note here, this is still in development. As you can see in the top left, it says development in progress. This game is not yet released. It is still in production. So there may be some glitches and bugs. Also, my computer is still acting up. So that little freeze there, I think was actually my machine. I don't think it was the game. When I was testing this earlier, it was flawless. Then I restarted my computer, and since then I've been having those freezes again. So the freezes are almost certainly my computer's fault, not the game's fault. Just to throw that out there. So, what can Menelaus do? Well, Menelaus is an epic hero. He is shielded. He doesn't have very many things going for him just yet. However, he does have Menelaus' shield, which gives more morale to all of his units, and also increases the melee defense of this hero. He also has one ability, which is the War God's Call, which lasts for 45 seconds. Targets any unit that's not a hero, and forces that unit to attack him. So Menelaus isn't so much a duelist fighting other heroes, he's more like the Vanguard in Three Kingdoms, where his job is fighting against enemy units and then basically tying them up in combat. He's not very good at actually killing them. His attack is fairly low, but he's pretty tanky. Then we've got the Laconian Militia. These are like your standard peasant units. Very, very light. Kind of poorly defended, but pretty quick. Their speed's 48. Then we've got the light spear runners, and as you can see, their speed is 55. So even compared to the guys who have got just a tunic and a sword, the spear runners, which are our unique unit, are very, very, very rapid. They're shielded. They can switch weapons, so they can put the shield away and then use their spear two-handed, and that will allow them to do more damage. They are armoured. They have an armour of 35, whereas these guys... Oh no, they're the same armour. They are considered light infantry. One of the things that Troy has changed since the battle preview that we showed off previously is the unit icons have changed. So if it's a circle, it's a light unit. If it's a diamond, it's a medium unit. And there is another icon for heavy. I'm not actually sure what it is because I haven't recruited any heavy units yet. And then we also have ranged. And this is obviously our light ranged unit because it's a circle. So the light spear runners, their other ability is they can also throw javelins, which do a fair amount of damage. We've got the Laconian axemen. These guys are excellent armor piercers, so if we do come up against somebody who is heavily armored, we probably want to hit them with the axemen. And then we also have a couple of Achaean slingers. Cool. Let's go and attack Hyperkos.
I will not give up. I decline.
Who is a Spartan noble pretender. No gods are on our side, and we will be exploring the different gods and the options that they bring to the table. So we're fighting against Hyperkos. He is a archer. Oh, interesting. When I was doing my test game of this, he was a duelist, and he kicked Menelaus' ass. So this might be slightly better for us. He's a skirmisher, good armor piercing damage, excellent accuracy. His speed's 45. How fast are you guys? 37. So he could potentially kite the axemen. I was kind of thinking that we would use the axemen to go after their general. They've got Laconian Militia, who are armoured. No, they're not. They're lightly armoured. They're the same as what we have. They do have one unit of spearmen, which are not as strong as the axemen. They have skirmishers, which are javelin throwers, and then also slingers, but they're not Achaean slingers. So they have half the hit... Oh no, they have more hit points than we do. Ammunition 28, ammo 38, range 160, range 170, so they actually got higher range than us. And they do more damage. Oh, but our unit's considered expendable. Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's fight this. When we're in the battle, I'm also going to turn the sound down. I wanted to make sure the sound was up when we were getting the introduction and everything. But I realise it might be quite loud right now. I had meant to turn it down after everything loaded. Alright, we are in dry weather. Because we're attacking, we can choose to attack in this weather, and we shall. Audio, just going to turn the master down to about there. That should do. Alright, magnificent. In fact, I think I'd kind of like to keep the voices high. Let's turn music and effects down and leave the speech high. Okay, good. So, our enemy is actually stationed on top of a hill, which could cause us a pretty few problems. He's got a cliff in front of him, which means we have to attack him from the sides. There aren't really any easy access to his position. He's in a good spot. I don't like this. Because we have a couple of woodlands here which could screen our advance, but he's probably not going to move, being the defender. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the light spears in front, supported on one side by the axes. You know what, let's support on the left. Then we'll bring in the militia on the right. Slingers just behind. And then Menelaus can kind of sit in the corner over there. Okay. And then let's just move you all forwards. So while these guys are moving, we can take a moment to admire how things in this game look. I gotta say, the terrain especially I really like, but the unit models are good too. You can see here our light spearmen. Sorry, the spear runners. Then we've got the slingers. Slings curled up around their fist. Menelaus himself, big boss man Sparta. Looking a bit Viking with the horns on his helmet. Yes, I know, Vikings didn't really have horns. And then we've got the Laconian Militia, who are sword and buckler infantry. Lightly armoured, but pretty quick. And then over on the flank, we have our axemen! And also a forest. If I press space, however, I can make the forest disappear. They have magic powers. Their axes actually look pretty mean. They're more like bardishas than axes. Oh, some of them are even two-handed. Two-headed. Interesting. So, as you can already see, there are a couple of options when we're pressing spacebar here. One of the ones that I really like is the way that the woodland disappears, because one problem that Total War's always had is you can't really see your units, or their units more importantly, when you're in a forest. But now it clips woods which are close to you, and you can actually turn that off just always. So this is just an ability that will kind of follow you around when you're looking around at this stuff. But I quite like that when that's space. If I really need to see something, I just hit space, and there we go. Alright, so they know that we're going to be approaching from this angle. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to deploy our army pretty much as intended right here. But I'm going to switch the militia to being on the left. And then the axemen are going to be on the right. And the reason I'm making this change is the forests here on the left. I'm hoping that I can sneak the Laconian Militia in.
The enemy hold the high ground. To rush in when they have such an advantage is to invite disaster.
What I'm hoping to do is sneak my skirmishy light units around the left side, use my shielded spearmen to come up through the centre, Use the axes probably on the side, although I'll probably keep them in reserve to try and go after hypercasts. And then use the light units to jump out and attack their skirmishers and slingers. The fact that they have the high ground, though, sucks. It really does. My test battle was easier. Although there, I think that their champion was probably better, though I haven't come up against a ranged champion yet. So let's take a look at what some of their units are looking like. Oh, okay, I've got one of those freezes. Don't know why my computer is doing this at the moment. It is infuriating. I thought I'd fix this. But it's happening really regularly at the moment. Okay, so these are the light swordsmen, who are armoured. Yeah, they're more heavily armoured than most of my units, so I probably actually want to try and hit them with my axemen. And my axes are on the right flank, so they're in the right place for it. Then they have their regular spearmen in the back, kind of screening their slings and javelins. Then their own Laconian Militia is on the left. Speed things up a little bit. I am a bit limited in time, so the maximum that I can produce is 90 minutes of footage, which is basically 3 times 30-minute videos. So I might end up like clipping and cutting and maybe speeding stuff up in a little bit of post-editing, something I don't usually like doing. Not my style. But in this, I want to show off as much as I possibly can in the time that I have. So armies are moving up. I think I'm still going to have the axemen swinging out wide over here. And then you two basically need to get into the woods quickly. In order to start hiding. And it... Oh, no, they got a few shots off. Bugger. Alright. Quite like our positioning. We are now going to get you guys to dive forwards up to about here. And here. And we'll start you lot advancing. We're going to keep these guys in reserve for the moment because I really don't want them being shot. What does that mean? Don't know. We'll have you counter-shooting the slingers. Are you going to be able to hide?
The foe has sighted your hidden units. Your hero is under attack.
Skirt around them. This was bad. Oh, come on. Again? I always get the blue little spinning circle on the mouse pointer as if something's trying to load and failing. Right, you go and attack them. Let's see if we can draw them out. And then Menelaus, you go and attack them. Spears, fight the swordsman. Axemen coming in after the swordsman as well. Okay. And now we've pretty much got everyone involved in some extent. Menelaus is taking down the spearmen. Spearmen are taking down the swordsman, assisted by the axemen. Swords versus swords. And then my Laconian Militia are chasing off all of their ranged units. I don't know how effective Slingers versus Archer Hero will be. You know what? Fire at them while Menelaus is kind of keeping them pinned. It's probably a better idea. They're also much closer. You firing? I feel like you might be a bit close. Oh no, you're firing. We're good. Alright, so we caught their slingers in the woods. It looks like our Laconian Militia are beating their Laconian Militia, probably because of Menelaus' combat abilities, which are boosting the whole army. Back just a touch. Yeah, we're shredding their swordsmen and their spearmen with our own top units, which is good. How fast is Menelaus? Menelaus is a 50. He's actually remarkably quick. Unfortunately, Hypercos is a 68.
Slingers ready. At once. Menelaus.
And their archer did not run away. Interesting. Okay, so we're peeling off the axemen to go and assist the Laconian Militia, while my light spear runners keep on chasing down the swordsmen. They're fast moving, they should be pretty good at that. Alright, Menelaus is now in close combat with their archer. And hopefully he can take them down. And the Laconians can come and assist against the spearmen. In fact, no. You chase them. Axemen, come and beat the spears. Slingers, let's draw them away. Alright, how's the duel going? Yeah, see, Menelaus does seem to take an awful lot of damage in these battles. I'm going to go and provoke the skirmishers to attack him in combat. If I can get him to do that. Maybe not. Where'd the axemen go? Okay, so the axemen are beating the spearmen. They've shattered. Let's go after... No, let's go after the hero. And now we've got the light spears against the skirmishers, the Menelaus supporting. He should be able to do that.
Are losing heart.
Ah, Menelaus managed to track the skirmishers to attack him. That's good. That's very good. Okay, so my Laconian spears are retreating just in time for the axemen to arrive and basically finish the job. Those guys have shattered with the slinger, thank you. And we're taking down the skirmishers pretty quickly. Alright, marvellous. I would say that this has come out fairly well.
By Ares, your warriors are rallying.
Good. You keep chasing. You lot. All of you chase them down.
Victory
In fact,
is close enough to taste.
Menelaus go and assist against the hero. Because it looks like he's fighting on, even though he's basically the only one who is. Alright, he's running. Just as he activated his Aristrea. That's unfortunate timing. Here comes Menelaus.
Strike through.
Anyway, that should do for this battle. So, close victory there. We lost 147, we have 260 remaining, they only have 50. It's actually one of my favourite aspects of this. So in previous Total Wars you would see like a duel as the map zoomed out and it would be on the map itself. Now you have a zoomed in battle between the two generals, and their like fight will show the outcome of the battle itself. It's pretty cool. Like here it was a close victory, so you just kind of parried him aside, and I guess this guy actually survived because we didn't kill him. which is unfortunate. We'll have to fight him again. So who performed the most admirably? Well, it was obviously the light spear runners, 153 kills, followed by the axemen, followed by the militia, and then Menelaus, and then finally the slingers. Never really got the slingers into an amazing position, whereas their militia performed really well, as did their general. Then we have three options. So we can ransom. Lives of Sparta. In times of war, resources are precious. We shall offer the worthless lives of all captured men to their masters in exchange for necessary goods. We can spill their blood. The impudence of our enemies has offended us and the gods. Their blood shall be fair punishment for such transgression. And we gain morale for 2 turns, but we annoy them. Or we gain replenishment 15%. These men are of good skill and brave heart. Should they swear allegiance to our cause in front of the gods, we shall embrace them as our own.
Very good.
Defeat an army belonging to the following enemy faction. Done. We gain some food and we also gain some bronze.
New recruits can be trained to build up your forces and replace warriors lost in battle. This will be a long war, and your adversaries gather in strength. You would be wise to look to your own armies in response.
So we have another mission, which is going to be getting more food and bronze. The number of men you command will need to grow in order to meet the challenges ahead. Recruit more combat units to swell the ranks of your armies. Units may be recruited by selecting a controlled army and clicking the recruit unit button. So we are going to gain some food and some more bronze for succeeding in this. And we gained a close victory. And Hypercloss is in fact dead. And we destroyed the Spartan Noble Pretenders. Alright, marvellous. Anyway, that is going to have to be the end of this first episode. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notifications when more videos go up in the future. If you have really enjoyed this, then please do consider checking out my Twitch, which you can find at twitch.tv/MordredViking. That is where I am most active and most frequently on. Most of the videos here on YouTube are basically archives from Twitch. If you want to see more of this type of thing, then please also consider supporting the channel and everything I do. You can do that over on Patreon, which is at patreon.com/MordredViking, or you can, of course, become a subscriber on Twitch. Finally, I have a Discord, which is where the community hangs out. They're a very cool bunch, and it's always a real pleasure to see some new faces over there. So please do come and join us, and if you have any questions about Troy, ask me in the comments below or on the Discord. Either works. I just want to say a final big thank you to Creative Assembly for hooking me up with a preview copy of this. And also I just want to give a special shout out to the developers of Troy in the Sophia studios, because they're actually taking a lot of time to talk to us and answer questions and stuff like that of the Creative Assembly partners who are working with them on this content. So thank you very much to the developers. You guys have been astonishingly good in giving up your time in talking to us and engaging with us in that, so thank you.